Modern Rolex watches are exceedingly popular, vintage Rolex watches are highly collectible, and Paul Newman Rolex Daytona watches are the cream of the crop. Simply put, vintage Rolex Daytona watches fitted with Paul Newman dials are grail-worthy watches. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to tell you what makes Paul Newman Daytona so unique, and of course, why is it so expensive? But before we start, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content on luxury. Now let's begin. If your daughter's boyfriend spent the summer at your college and helped you rebuild a treehouse, you might reward him with a cold six-pack and a pat on the back. If you're Paul Newman, however, you give him the world's most valuable Rolex. The watch in question is a 1960s Cosmograph Daytona reference 6239, and it set a new record when it sold for $17.8 million at a Phillips auction in October 2017. Must have been some treehouse. An enthusiastic race car driver, Newman, received the Daytona, a watch designed specifically for timing car races, as a gift from his wife, Joanne Woodward, who engraved "Drive Carefully, Me" on the back, a gentle reminder that even Butch Cassidy wasn't invincible. Newman was photographed wearing the watch regularly over the next decade, as he competed in high-profile races, including a second-place finish at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Thanks to a combination of limited production, unusual details on the dial, and its association with the famous actor, the so-called Paul Newman, Daytona became one of the most collectible timepieces in the world, worth far more than similar Daytonas from that era. They regularly fetched over $100,000 at auction. Newman's own watch, of course, and the bragging rights that come with it, is worth far more. Now let's dig a little deeper as to why these watches are so expensive. Rolex is a major corporation through and through, with an estimated 30,000 plus employees and large production facilities. These two factors alone consume vast amounts of financial resources that are reflected in the MSRPs of their watches. It could, however, be argued that Rolex watches are mass-produced products, with the company taking up to 1 million of them annually, which perhaps could help keep prices down. Important to keep in mind, however, is how Rolex achieves both quantity and quality, with the brand being a true stickler for high quality in everything it does. Maintaining the standard required vast effort and expenditure, which also push prices upwards. But these factors in and of themselves don't fully explain the high prices for a Rolex Daytona. Omega has these same elements at play in the production of its Speedmaster professional moonwatch. However, the current moonwatch at its list price of $7,200 costs only about half of what a stainless steel Daytona officially lists for. And as soon as you start looking at prices for the Rolex Daytona on the secondary market, this gap only increases further, with a moonwatch selling for around $7,000 and the black dial Daytona going for over $36,500. The explanation in this case is relatively straightforward. Rolex is unquestionably the luxury watch for many enthusiasts, and even big-name watchmakers like Omega, Breitling, or Zenith can't keep up with the brand with the crown. When you purchase a Rolex Daytona, part of what you're buying includes being able to have the world-famous name on your wrist. The second price factor is supply and demand. The Daytona is one of the most popular Rolex models, period. This creates a corresponding level of demand. Rolex, furthermore, cannot or will not meet this demand. It's estimated that Rolex produces between 20,000 and 40,000 Daytonas every year, and these numbers include literally every Daytona made. Whether they are stainless steel, gold, or platinum models, these relatively low amounts are largely due to the fact that the Daytona is the only chronograph the Geneva watchmaker produces. And a chronograph caliber is more complex to make. The caliber 4130, by the way, is used exclusively for the Daytona, taking up significantly more time and resources. So with this in mind, it makes more business sense for Rolex to concentrate on its models like the Submariner, GMT Master, or Datejust, which houses simpler calibers. Demand clearly outpaces the amount of Daytonas manufactured, meaning you can expect very long waiting lists at authorized dealers, and the corresponding wait times are typically measured in years, not months. The Rolex Daytona possesses a certain rarity that only enhances its prestige, leading Rolex to charge handsome prices for it. Last but not least, the hype. If you don't want to wait that long for your own Daytona, the secondary market is of course the place to look. Just be prepared to pay a hefty premium. As of July 2022, you should be prepared to spend more than 3 times the official list price of around $14,000 for the current stainless steel with the white dial. While the black dialed version is more affordable, it will cost you more than 2.5 times its MSRP. You may be surprised to hear that these enormous price increases have occurred only in the past 3 years or so. One reason for this is, of course, the hype surrounding the Paul Newman Daytona. The Hollywood legend and amateur racing driver was one of the earliest Daytona wearers. One of the key reasons is it has become such a sought-after timepiece. It may be hard to believe, but in its first years, the Daytona gathered its fair share of dust at authorized dealers. Only after the chronograph was regularly seen on the wrist of Newman did it enjoy an increase in popularity. In 2017, Newman's personal Daytona was auctioned off for the then record amount of $17.75 million, which in turn led to a run on the Daytona, with collectors and speculators now seeing the investment potential of this timepiece. The hunt was officially on for vintage Daytonas and would expand to include current models as well. Market forces as a result propelled the prices for some Daytonas upward. However, while certain models saw astronomical leaps, the price performance of others remained relatively moderate. Hope you guys liked the video. If you're a Rolex fan, make sure to watch our video on why the watch brand is still so valuable.